Yeah, y'all gonna stop coming in my live talking about this Victor dude, bro. We hooping this year. Y'all gonna see.
Alright team, today we have some good stuff. As you can see, the Hoop Collective podcast is on our screen, and they're going to be talking about the De'Aaron Fox extension. As y'all know, we just went over that last video, and everyone had some conflicting thoughts. People saying it was an overpay. Me personally, I didn't think so. I thought it was a market value for the type of point guard that Fox is. But they actually recorded this before the official extension was announced because these guys have inside sources and they just knew it was going to happen. So they're going to talk about it a little bit right here. We're going to go ahead and listen to it, and I'm going to give y'all my thoughts on it, and y'all can leave y'all's thoughts down below in the comments section. With that being said, let's not waste too much time and let's jump straight into it.
Okay. I'm not sure this part's going to be in the podcast. We'll see. But we are expecting. I don't know if it happened today because today is the first day. It could happen actually. I think maybe even yesterday was. But sometime in the next day or couple of days, there is an expectation that De'Aaron Fox will extend his contract with the San Antonio Spurs. He wasn't eligible until the last couple of days. The Spurs traded 3 first-round picks for him at the trade deadline. When they did that, they were pretty much saying they were going to give him a big contract number this year, and they saw him as Victor Wembanyama's point guard.
Co-star. Not just point guard, co-star.
Yes, co-star, but like they said, we gave up assets to bring in Fox, so it's just not smart. Even though we didn't give up much, I mean, we got him for, really not anything. You gave up that Bulls pick, you gave up your pick in 27, but we have the Hawks pick in 27 to fall back on, I believe, and then we also gave up a future first from the Minnesota deal, where we sent out the 8th pick, but other than that, you gave up Trey Jones, Zach Collins in that Charlotte pick that was really just 2 seconds. It wasn't even a real first, but the fact that you gave up those assets, I think that signaled that they were going to extend him this whole time.
Sure, if you're going to pay the guy over $200 million on a contract.
And by the way, his preferred list of destinations had one team on it, the San Antonio Spurs. Rich Paul's not placing a star client somewhere that he's not going to get paid.
Right, and whatever you want to say about Rich Paul, the client said, I want to be traded, and I want to be traded to this team, and I want to get paid, and Rich Paul delivered. Now, let me ask the question, Bontemps, assuming that there's a contract that we expect him to get, can you trade that contract?
I mean, probably, but if you look around the league, there's not a lot of teams that need point guards, and there's not a ton of, I'm not sure what the interest level would be. I mean, it's the same thing as if you want to try to start constructing fake LaMelo Ball trades or fake Trae Young trades or fake, any of these point guard trades. De'Aaron's obviously a great player, but it's an interesting dynamic in the market. And like we've talked about a bunch. We've talked about the Spurs a lot this summer. I think one of the really interesting questions across the entire league this year, and maybe the next couple of years, is how do the Spurs sort out the combination of Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, and De'Aaron Fox? Because
Okay, it's a little laggy. I'm not sure why it looks like that. But yes, I think that is still a movable contract or player. It does not put him in Bradley Beal conversations now. So I'll say it's kind of a give and take. Yes, he does make a lot of money, and rightfully so. I still don't think it's an overpay. But then again, you got to think of it. If someone's trading for De'Aaron Fox, he has this year plus another 4 years on his contract. So you really got him locked up. It's not like a situation where you have a star on the last year of his deal, and it's kind of going to be like a rental situation with Kawhi in Toronto. So I think there's a give and take. Obviously, if you wanted to trade Fox, you would still be able to do that. Would you get a haul? Who knows what teams will be willing to offer. But I don't think you extend Fox like this if you're looking to trade him. This is just a signal that he's going to be the long-term running mate. And I like it because it gives guys like Castle and Dylan Harper some time to develop. The Spurs are masters at the 2 timeline things. We saw it with Kawhi coming up with the aging big 3. It's kind of similar to that. So you can kind of have a win-win situation, and the Spurs got to do good development. But Wemby's so good, he's ready to win now and in the future.
paper, those are 3 high-value, really interesting players that don't fit together. And you could probably find a way to play 2 of them together. It seems really hard to find a way to play all 3 of them together for extended minutes. And it's going to be really fascinating for Mitch Johnson, the now full-time head coach of the Spurs, and our guy Sean Sweeney, the now lead assistant in San Antonio, to figure out what the best way to maximize those guys is, the best way to bring along those young guys, and to see how they all fit together. Because that, I think, more than anything else, outside of just Victor's continued ascendance to stardom, that's the thing that's going to determine sort of what the direction of the Spurs is going forward. Is what does this solve to that question, and what does it look like, both for who do the Spurs decide to keep, how do they decide to use them, and if they move on from one of them, what is the return and a potential deal for any one of them that they move on from?
And when you ask, can you trade the contract? It's not, can you trade it right now? It's down the road. And I think down the road, there will be more teams that have need at point guard. I mean, you look at the Clippers, for example. James Harden's still playing at a high level, but, he's not the long-term solution there. And, I think there's a handful of teams that would fit in that category. I think there's more teams that need point guards than you're indicating right now.
I guess what I mean by that is it's a combination of need and can you get value in return. Like, sure. A lot of
Okay, look, I know this is off topic, but he just said James Harden, and that made me think of, I've been seeing De'Aaron Fox isn't better than this guy or this guy, and a whole bunch of lists with point guards who people say are better than De'Aaron Fox. People are saying he's not a top 10 point guard. I don't know if we're being serious or like we're trolling or whatever. People saying James Harden is better than De'Aaron Fox. Damian Lillard is better than De'Aaron Fox. Like, what are we talking about? Severely underrating De'Aaron Fox because he had a year, really half of the year, whenever he got to the Spurs, it was a little anticlimactic, but he had a torn ligament in his finger for the entire season, but nobody said nothing when he dropped 60 and then 40 points in back-to-back games. I mean, I'm pretty sure he led the #1 offense like 2 years ago whenever they went to the playoffs, and now he's just become severely underrated. People calling him the most overrated player in the league. I don't know where this Fox disrespect started from, maybe because he's a Spur now, but I think y'all are in for a rude awakening if y'all think Fox isn't that guy, or if y'all think he's not one of the top probably like 7 point guards in the league. I would say De'Aaron Fox is certainly between the 9th and 6th best point guard in the league, somewhere between 6 and 9, and that there's just no argument if you think otherwise. Like, I'm not even going to argue with you.
teams are just De'Aaron Fox, but that's different than can you trade him for stuff you really want back. That's more the question.
And then I think it's too early to say how these three guards are going to fit or whether they can fit. And a lot of this year, this year definitely is a year where the Spurs need to make a leap. The Spurs need to be a playoff team. They need to make major strides in year 3 of Wemby and hopefully a full healthy year for Wemby. But it's also still an evaluation year. It is still, it's still Wemby early in his career on his rookie contract, and it's you're still in the rookie the rookie year for Dylan Harper and the second year for Stephon Castle. And so I think it's a lot of this year is about the evaluation of how that guard group fits together, and especially the development, I think, of Castle in particular. Castle's shooting ability, I think, is going to be a key that can either unlock or lock a lot of things for the Spurs in terms of fit, because if he can shoot it, and he's a shooter who defenses have to guard, I don't see why those three can't play together sometimes. He can get, he's a big, strong dude. He can guard threes. I can promise you that.
Also saying this, I agree totally with McMahon. Steph Castle shooting is going to be crucial to the Spurs' success. But I will say this. People saying that it's not going to work because we saw rookie year Stephon Castle shoot the ball inefficiently. A rookie guard shoot the ball inefficiently. And to say he's going to be that for his entire career, I'm not saying he's going to turn into Steph Curry. But to say he's going to be a bad shooter or a below average shooter for the rest of his career, I think that's kind of crazy to say. We saw 1 year where half the year he was pretty much the primary scorer. They let him run the offense or whatever. Obviously, he's going to shoot inefficiently. But you got to give him a couple more seasons to see if he can become a solid three-point shooter. Maybe like 34% from three. People also judge De'Aaron Fox, he's never been a great three-point shooter. I think he's only shot 36% from three one season. This year he shot like 31%, but he had a torn ligament in his finger. People saying Dylan Harper's not a shooter. He shot 33% in college and he hasn't even played an NBA game. Give them some time to develop. Give them some time to get their jump shots down. They're rookies, first and second year players. Like, we can't just sit up here and say that they're never going to be solid or serviceable shooters for the rest of their career. And Fox, I dare you to leave Fox open.
Well, again, let's talk about optionality. Because Dylan Harper, about to be a rookie, and Stephon Castle are on rookie contracts, so is Victor for that matter.
Yeah. The
Spurs have optionality. They're not, whether or not this trio works together or not, they have maneuverability with it because they're not giving all of them 9 figures, at least not right now. So that enables them. Plus, it's interesting, when they did this deal, they certainly knew what they had in Castle, but they had no idea they were going to end up with a number 2 pick and be able to draft the best guard in the draft.
It's obviously a good problem to have.
Right.
But at the same time, it is worth pointing out, and I'm a big Stephon Castle fan. He shot 26.7% from three at UConn. He shot 28.7% last year. De'Aaron Fox has had one 36% three-point shooting season. Every other one has been well below that, and he's a 33% career shooter. Dylan Harper was a 33% shooter from three last year at Rutgers. That's not going to work long term. So, yes, like at least one of those guys, and it's probably not going to be De'Aaron Fox because he's now mostly a formed player, is going to have to become a much better shooter, if not two of them, for that to be a viable trio. And that's why, yes, this year I think is all about observation with those guys and what do they try to do and how do they try to fit them together, because you still have Devin Vassell. Like there's a lot of interesting pieces there in San Antonio, and I still think we're probably a move or two away from the core of whatever the first real contending team looks like around Victor, I would think, because just on paper it feels like there's still a move or two left to be made before this looks like the fully ready team that he'll be looking for.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I do think they're a move or two away from being that contending team. I do think that this is the team that can make a run in the playoffs or for sure get to the playoffs. I mean, if you really watched the Spurs last season and you saw Stephon Castle get on a heater from three ball, he has some pretty deep range for people they consider a non-shooter. And I mean, percentage-wise, that is a bad percentage, but you can really tell that people aren't going to give him the Ben Simmons treatment. Yes, he needs to improve, but I think we have someone who has the potential to be a good shooter in the future, even if he's not that right now.
I asked you guys recently, do you think the Spurs would have made the Fox trade if they'd had known, which is impossible, but if they would have known they were going to get Dylan Harper in the draft? And the answer is probably not. Just from a cost perspective, probably not. But like you said, Bontemps, there are a lot worse problems to have than, hey, we've got three guards who are pretty damn good. How do they fit together?
The other thing, again, as long as we're talking about,
I mean, I think they still might make that trade because what we got De'Aaron Fox for, all NBA, all-star caliber point guard, like, come on, that's a steal. So who knows if they make that trade. If it's the same price, I mean, I don't see why not. Like, we're not in a bad position at all. But I see what he's saying, and I guess there could be better fits to go after if you know you're going to get Dylan Harper.
optionality, the Spurs have some big expiring contracts on their roster. Harrison Barnes and Kelly Olynyk being the two biggest ones combined. They're over $32 million that they can go shopping, and that depending on what they do with those, they could also let them just come off their books. But if they go shopping during the season, they also have Jeremy Sohan, who is extension eligible. So whether or not they decide to pay him or not, if they don't extend him, is that somebody they look to move? So Spurs are going to be doing some interesting things, but because they've got so many of their core pieces on rookie contracts, it enables them, I think, to make a big investment in a player like Fox because they believe that he has such value. They did, I think, even though they gave up 3 firsts, I think they felt good about the value that they got in that trade.
Well, and it was 4 firsts with a wink because one of them was never going to convey as a first. And they went into it with a surplus of picks. They still have plenty of picks. Like if there's a trade to be made, they've got plenty of ammo, including draft capital moving forward. And listen, Wendy, you've been telling us about the breakfast tacos, that Riverwalk, the proximity to Austin, and the fact that
I haven't talked about the Riverwalk. I will vouch for the fact that San Antonio has got more going for it than people want to give it credit for.
I think
it's very much a growing city.
Per capita, there's as many facial and head tattoos in San Antonio as anywhere in America. But in seriousness, since they got Wemby, you've been talking about, hey, San Antonio is going to be a destination for players, and they didn't engage in the KD bidding, but they were on Kevin Durant's list.
Yeah, that was on De'Aaron Fox's list. And again, we talked about this a little bit with.
I mean, like he said, San Antonio's got a lot going for us. If y'all know, AMP has been over here tapped in, streaming or whatever. And we never had that before Wemby, Stephon Castle. I know people talk about Victor Wembanyama a lot, but Stephon Castle is also an underrated piece. Fox said he was the reason why he wanted to come over here. So like Brian Windhorst said, I agree with him. I think San Antonio has more going for it than people give it credit for. But with that being said, y'all be sure to leave y'all's thoughts down below in the comments section. As always, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Until next time, I will catch y'all later. I'm out.